Connecting ideas, connectives of reason. What are connectives? We use connectives to link two or more ideas in one sentence. How do we connect ideas? Let's take a look. We have two sentences here. I bought a bottle of water. I was thirsty. The first sentence talks about the action of buying a bottle of water. The second sentence talks about the reason why I bought a bottle of water. How can we link a sentence of action and a sentence of reason? We can use the connective because. The sentence becomes, I bought a bottle of water because I was thirsty. This way, we can link sentences with different connectives for different purposes. In this video, we'll focus on the connectives for reason. As, because of, due to, and since. We use connectives of reason to introduce the reason for an action, event, or situation. Let's take a look at two example sentences. Don't throw away the apples as they are still good to eat. Most people won't order this dish due to its odd smell. In front, we have the action, event, or situation. And after the connective of reason, we write the reason. So pay attention, we put the reason after the connective. Here are more connectives that we can use to introduce reasons. In the following three example sentences, the connectives of reason are in red color. Don't buy disposable items because they will end up in landfills. The earth is warmer now because of the greenhouse effect. We urgently need to reduce waste, since our landfills are nearly full. In front, we have an action, event, or situation. And after the connective because of, or since, we introduce the reason of the action, event, or situation in front. When we use the connectives as, because of, since, and due to, we can put them either in the middle of a sentence or at the beginning of the sentence. In the previous examples, the connectives are in the middle of the sentences. How can we put them at the beginning of the sentence? Let's take a look at some example sentences. As the air pollution is bad today, we should just stay home. Because of the oil spill, a lot of sea creatures have died. Since there is so much food left, let's pack it and bring it home. Due to the huge amount of waste we produce, our landfills will soon be full. The connectives are put at the beginning of the sentence. After the connectives, we have the reason. And after the reason, we have the action. Between the reason and the action, we would use a comma. Remember, we use connectives to link two or more ideas in one sentence. These ideas can be in the form of a noun, a noun phrase. A noun phrase contains several words, or a clause. A clause contains a subject plus a verb. Let's take a look at some example sentences to understand more. Example: the total amount of waste has been reduced because of recycling. After the connective because of, we use a noun equivalent, recycling. A verb plus ing is equal to a noun. Another example sentence: our landfills will soon be full due to huge amounts of waste plastic bottles and single-use products. After the connective due to, we can also use a noun phrase. The green colored words are a noun phrase. Another example sentence. As I was the last person to leave the room, I switched off all the lights. I was the last person to leave the room is a clause. A clause contains a subject, here I, and the verb was. So, when do we use a noun or a noun phrase after a connective? And when do we use a clause after a connective? It depends on which connectives we use. Let's take a look at the table to understand how we can use the connectives of reason. For because, as, and since, we use a clause after them. For because of or due to, we use a noun or noun phrase after them. For the word because, it is usually in the middle of a sentence and we seldom use it at the beginning of a sentence. For as or since, we can either use it at the beginning of the sentence or in the middle of the sentence. For because of and due to, we can use it either at the beginning or in the middle of a sentence. Here are some example sentences. Don't take long showers because it wastes water. After the connective because, we use a clause with a subject and a verb. We do not use because at the beginning of a sentence. For as, we can follow it with a clause. As I didn't want to throw my books away, I donated them. I is the subject in the clause. Didn't want is the verb in the clause. We can use since in the middle of a sentence. And remember, we put the reason after the connective of reason. Factories should stop discharging toxic waste into the sea, since it causes serious water pollution. After the connective since, we use a clause with the subject, it, and causes, verb. Millions of seabirds die because of plastic in the ocean. After the connective because of, we use a noun or noun phrase. Here it is plastic in the ocean. And lastly, due to rain, the match was postponed. Due to and because of can be used at the beginning of a sentence. After the connective due to, we use a noun or a noun phrase. Here it is rain. Your turn. Let's try to join the clauses using the given connective to form a correct sentence. We have the event, sea animals are dying. And we also have the reason, why are sea animals dying? Sea animals have eaten plastic waste floating at sea. Both the event and the reason are in a clause with the subject at the beginning and a verb following the subject. The connective that we need to use is because. Remember, for this connective, we can only use it in the middle of the sentence. And the reason should come after the connective. How should we form the sentence? Yes, sea animals are dying because they have eaten plastic waste floating at sea. The reason comes after the connective. Well done! You have finished learning the connectives of reason.